Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new ITM platform training session. My name is Rene Alvarez, and I'll be your trainer for today. Today's topic is going to be project status, reports, and analysis. This session, in this session, we will cover things like making sure that our projects are updated, how to read the current status for the project inside ITM platform, how to get started with the reporting features inside ITM platform, and perform some basic analysis. The session will be 45 minutes long. After that time, we have some time to answer your questions in case you have some questions during the presentation. If you have them, please type them through the chat or from the on the Q&A area on this meeting. Please remember that this training session will grant you 1 credit towards the ITM platform end user certification. If you are looking for that certification, you will need 10 credits to get it. And you can get these credits through our weekly training sessions. 1 month of ITM platform use will also grant you 1 credit, or you can get more credits through one of our partners' training. You can get the certification directly if you take a 10 or more hour training session. All right, so without further ado, let's introduce the topic for today. Again, we want to enter the progress for our projects. We want to control it. We want to learn what the current status for our projects is. And then we want to report based on that information and perform some analysis, okay? So what I'm going to do here is access our demo environment. Okay, I'm using a full access user, so I can show you all the different features and clicks. Okay, where to get started for today? Well, I'm gonna navigate to the projects area, and first focus on one particular project. I'm gonna start with a waterfall project. So if I open one waterfall project, remember that this waterfall project was built through a Gantt view where I can create and schedule my tasks, okay? So what does it mean to have a progress on our project? Well, for that, first of all, I need to have a list of tasks inside my schedule. And some of these tasks will be assigned to our resources, right? So they can report on progress while executing. Others are up to the project manager to control, like, for example, the milestones and the main deliverables. Also, you can create tasks that are not assigned to end users, to resources, and you can directly control the progress for those. Okay, so let's first understand all that situation, right? When I assign a task to a resource, remember that the assignment is not done in the Gantt area. We have two different places where we can assign a resource to a task. Our preference typically would be under team, and in team, I just need to select the resource, okay, and then assign a task function. It can be either the task member or the task manager. As a quick reminder, a task member can only report on time. So a task member can only tell me how many hours he or she have been using for that task, right? A task manager, in addition to what a task member can do, the task manager can provide me with a progress value, okay? So once the task has been assigned to the end user, then the end user will go to my desktop, will start working on their tasks, and they can report them through my timesheets and or my tasks and activities if they are task managers, okay? What happens inside ITM Platform is that when the team member reports on work, reports on effort or hours, it's the same. You're going to see the roll up in here. You are going to see the total calculation for each task. I can navigate to the third version of this view, right, where I can see the values for that task, right? I have three different values. I have the estimated effort, that'll be the number of hours assigned by the project manager. I have the entry effort, that'll be the time the team member has reported on as progress, right? And the third value is really optional, right? It would represent if the project manager wants to alter or overwrite what the team member is reporting on. For example, maybe instead of, in this case, right, I assigned 10 hours, the team member completed the work with just 9 hours. In here, I could enter a different value. Maybe I would like to report on 11 hours, 12 hours, 6 hours, or whatever value it is. Okay, so it is up to the project manager to decide whether to use directly the value provided by the team member or override it. Okay, if you do not make any changes to that, then ITM Platform will directly use the input from the team member. Okay, all right, so that'll be one way of understanding that. If we want to be much more detailed, we can go to each task. Okay. So if I go to a particular task where I can enter things like the description or the status or the type, I can see, first of all, who is assigned to this task and what is their role. And also, I can see the effort related to this task with a lot of detail. I can see the estimated effort and I can see the actual accepted effort, okay? And of course, the totals, right? From here, I can also make changes. For example, instead of 9 hours for David, I can modify this to be 10 hours or 10 and a half, right? All right, so as you can see, this can be very, very detailed, but this is just tracking time, right? What about the percentages? The team member, when I assign a task manager, okay, that task manager will have the permission to access this progress tab. In the progress tab, the team member or the project manager, right, can add a progress report for this task. The progress report will represent different things. For example, the percent complete value, the number, the assessment. If the progress is okay, we are falling behind, it's good, not so good, right? And to which date this update corresponds, right? So if I click on Add Progress Report, I can enter the assessment. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not that good, or maybe we are executing it with large delays or something like that. Of course, this catalog, this list of values, is customizable. Your system administrator, your PMO might be able to change and update this list according to your needs. Okay, I need to enter a short description that will be like the summary of why I'm saying critical or caution or good. Okay, I can enter an optional detailed description. This is very helpful, especially if I'm the team member updating the task and I need to inform the project manager what's going on, right? And in here, I can enter the percent completed, okay? Now, in many places, in different places, you might see this option on or off, right? Create an automatic project progress report. What does that mean? That whenever I modify a task, I would like to tell ITM Platform to create a progress report update, right? So I'm actually trying to update directly the progress for the project, okay? If that is accepted. Again, this is up to the PMO or the system administrator to control whether this is allowed or not allowed, okay? All that in terms of progress or percent completed, I can see through the Gantt view, right? In the Gantt view, I can see, no, I don't want to move it. I can see the different tasks in here, and I can see the percent done, right? This percent done, once more, needs to be controlled by the team member if I have resources assigned to that task. If on the other hand, I don't have a resource for that task, then I can double click the column for percent done and enter my value. So I can mark this task, for example, as 100% complete, okay? And this would alter probably the roll-up, right? Because these summary tasks are going to be automatically calculated after the values that we are providing across the task underneath, okay? Now, this option as well below, create an automatic progress report, means that if I'm changing, I'm updating the Gantt, the Gantt information right from here, and I click on save, those changes will create a new progress report, right? All right. Now, let me explain one extra thing that is quite important while we are working here. I have two percentages at the top, the percent completed and the calculated progress. What is the difference between those two and what they represent? The calculated progress is a calculation done by ITM platform. According to the plan, the current status for all those tasks and the roll-up values, right? Okay. For the entire project, ITM platform is calculating 61% of progress, right? On the other hand, the percent completed, that's 70%, that is the value reported by the project manager. It does not necessarily need to be the same value, right? And again, this is one of the many things that the PMO or the system administrator can control through the configuration if the project manager is allowed to do this, okay? Maybe we want to allow the project manager to alter this calculation, maybe not, right? It is really up to you to decide that, okay? All right, let me save my changes in here. And I'm going to move to the Progress tab. In the Progress tab, I'm going to see the latest updates, okay? So in here, first of all, I have a little chart that will compare the percent completed against the expected for today. This is a calculation done through the Gantt view, okay? And according to today's date, right? So up to today, as my task has been scheduled, I should be 81% on, okay? Please notice the difference between this expected today, percent expected today, against the calculated progress. So this one is actuals based on the column of percent done by task, while in the Progress tab, the expected of today it's an approximate percentage as of what I should have completed as today, right? The percent completed then is controlled by the project manager. How is it controlled by the project manager? Whenever I need to provide with a new update, I can click on this progress report, right? I would like to create a new progress report. So if I click in there, I have the assessment just like we had at the task level, sorry. And in here, I can select good, caution, critical, or whatever is the list configured by my PMO. I can enter a short description, for example, falling behind or something like that. I can enter a more detailed description, and then this percent completed, right, is a suggestion from ITM platform according to the current state of my tasks. Again, these might be blocked, right? If the system administrator does not want me to modify this value, then it's going to be grayed out, right? I can only see the value. I'm just providing a short or a detailed description, and of course the report date. But if permitted, I can modify this value. For example, I can say, well, I'm going to report a 75%, okay? This is me as project manager entering those values, okay? So if I click on save, what happens in here is that ITM platform will create that extra value. Please notice now that in this line, I have two different values for the same date. Just be careful with this, because every time that you ask ITM platform to create a new progress report, either from here or updating the Gantt, this is going to create a new entry on the historical changes for that project. And as you can see, I have two for the same date, right? And this probably would be wrong from the PMO's perspective, right? I cannot have two different values for the same date, unless I made a mistake, right? That can happen, or maybe I'm applying a change control, right? Which can be documented through the risks and issues area. Okay. All right. Let me show you one more thing, right? In terms of status, if I have a baseline in my project, okay, then ITM platform will provide me with an extra value. Okay. Currently, I don't think I have a baseline saved. So let's check that. Okay. There are different places where you can control the baselines. My preference is from the general. I'm going to show you why. In the area for timeline, where I see the start and end dates and the duration for the project, I have this button to manage baselines. From other places, I can create new baselines or use the current baseline, but this manage baselines is kind of special for me. As you can see, it's blank. I have not created a baseline. What is a baseline? A baseline is a very important control structure or control element for the PM and the PMO, right? It is a copy of your plan, right? For example, before creating it, sorry, let me go back for a second to the Gantt view, right? What if, I don't know, this task takes 30 days to complete, right? What if for some reason this value changes from 30 to 40, right? Am I late? Well, I cannot prove it, right? If it says in here 40, there's no way that I can simply prove that I'm late, that I should have completed this in 30 days. For that, I need a reference, okay? I need to save somewhere that this task should have been completed in 30 days, not 40. Then I'm 10 days late, correct? That point of comparison, that is exactly the baseline, okay? And that's why you wanted it for. So let's go back to the general, and then I'm going to click on Manage Baselines. And again, as you can see, I have nothing, right? Let's click on Set New Baseline. All baselines should have a name, and ITM platform will provide you with a proposed name, baseline 1, 2, 3, etc., depending on how many baselines have you created. I'm going to click on Create Baseline now, and as you can see, it's going to set it as the active baseline, because I can change the active baseline according to my needs. Okay. And here, as you can see, ITM platform will provide you with a list with historical changes on when and who has saved those baselines. Okay. Perfect. Now I have a baseline. Let's go back to the Gantt view. Okay. In the Gantt view, looks like nothing changed. However, now I have the ability to display the baseline. So if I'm analyzing the status for my project from a visual perspective, okay, what I can do is ask ITM platform to show me a baseline, right? The baseline is represented with that gray bar below my current Gantt representations, right? So if I start to see slippages in the same task, that means that I'm falling behind or moving ahead, right? Because that gray bar, which represents the baseline, is not going to move at all, okay? And as you can see, if I hover over, it will display the values according to that baseline, right? If needed, from here, with the next button, you can create a new baseline. All right. What I don't like about this way is that I cannot see existing baselines, right? And maybe I want to do that, okay? But it's perfectly fine to create it from here. All right. Now, what changes in terms of the progress view is that if I go in here, now I have another value to compare to. I have the baseline % expected today. And these three values can be different, right? Maybe as of today, I would be I don't know, I should have been 90% done instead of 81, right? So that will depend on changes applied to my project plan, how I'm updating, how I'm progressing through the project execution, okay? All right. What if I need a much more detail, much more lower level of analysis on the current project status? Well, for that, in this same page, if I scroll down, I have the earned value, metrics. Okay, if I click here, I can click on load earned value. This takes a little time, right? Not really much, but let me explain what is happening. Every time that I click in there, iTunes platform is evaluating the full detail for my plan, and my project can contain a lot of different information, okay? We can have a lot of different tasks assigned to resources. The resources are reporting on time for each day. So it's analyzing all that data to create the updated metrics, okay? Let me show you once it's done. Let's give it time to complete. All right, it is done. How can I know that it's done? Because that indicator went away, and now I can scroll down a little bit further. All right, what happened in here? That now I have a table with the traditional earned value metrics. Okay, what do I have in here? I have the budget cost of work at completion, or the budget cost of work schedule, right? All these different elements will tell me a perspective, a way to understand better my project. But in a nutshell, what I would need to evaluate quickly, right, is these four values, right? The cost variance, the schedule variance, and or the cost performance index, better known as CPI, or the schedule performance index, right? The variances and the indexes tell me pretty much the same thing, but in a different way, right? Variances are differences, okay? Variances are subtractions, while indexes are divisions, okay? And they are trying to tell me if my project is on time or no, using calculations based on financial data, okay? So what happens in here is that the ideal situation is where my indexes are 1, okay? If my indexes are not 1, then that means that I can be executing under budget or over budget. I'm executing under the time expected or over time expected, okay? That's why even if we are using financial data, I can still provide with a schedule performance index, okay? Now, to the right, I have a chart that displays how these indicators have been behaving through time, right? What is traditionally known as the earned value, okay, is this value for budgeted cost of work performed. In other words, how much cost this current state is, right? Or how I'm representing that progress in terms of cost, okay? If we scroll down a little bit further, iTunes platform will provide me with three extra scenarios or situations, right? The continuity scenario, the absolute correction scenario, and the according to budget from now scenario. Let me explain what they mean. Currently, I have a kind of a problem, right? Well, not necessarily a problem. Let me explain. I budgeted this project cost me 146,000, okay? But currently I'm executing it in a different way than planned, okay? So what iTunes platform is telling me with this little table is that if I continue executing this project as I'm doing, right, the estimated completion is going to be 190,000, okay? Close to 120,000, right? Is that good or bad? Well, it kind of depends. In this case, looks like it's good, right? Because this value is telling me that it's going to be lower than the original budget. So this means that I'm saving money. Okay? That's what it's saying, right? And that's why this cost variance metric, sorry, it should be like this. Oh, wow, sorry. My mistake. Yeah, this metric is in black, right? Because I'm trying to save money. However, in terms of time, right, the situation is opposite. This is in red because I'm losing money because I'm falling behind. Even if I'm executing within budget, right, I'm falling behind in time. Okay. What about the absolute correction? What does that mean? Well, if I would like to end with exactly the same budget at the end, then I need to modify the execution or the rate or the piece, if you will, of my plan to be 0.65. That'll be to kind of reduce the speed or something like that. Okay. So I can end with the same within the same budget, with exactly the same budget as predicted. The last one is what happens if from now on I'm 100% efficient executing this project. In other words, what happens if I execute at 1 for my CPI, for my cost performance index? Well, the situation in the end is that I'm going to use 126,000 instead of 146,000. In the end, looks like this project is doing very well in terms of finance, although maybe not so well in terms of time because I'm falling behind. Okay. As you can see, iTunes platform by its own, it will give you a lot of information already, right? What do I need to have in place for this to work, for this to calculate accurately what you are seeing? Well, first of all, I'm going to need a detailed Gantt, right? It does not need to contain 5,000 tasks. It just needs to contain enough information, right? So I can assign those tasks to my resources and that they start reporting on time, right? So to use the earned value metrics, I definitely require that my team members will report on time, right? Well, sorry, not on time, not just on time, but also through effort, right? I need to know how many hours they are using. Second situation, I'm gonna need rates for my resources, right? So I need to know how much David is costing us, right? The use of David or the use of Carol or the use of any other resource assigned to this plan. This is really up to the PMO or the system administrator, but let me show you real quick, right? If I go to the organization area and the cost management, I can find the categories and rates. In here, I should have all the different categories or resource categories that I'm going to use across my projects. And each of those would need to be related to a rate, right? To a fee. Okay. So every time that I use an engineer, is going to consider certain cost. Okay. This is super important, right? How can I make the relationship between the resource and the specific cost? We will cover that in detail in another training session. I'm just explaining that I need this to be able to use this detailed level of project statusing. Okay. So in the end, the effect is that I'm just, as a project manager, I'm just assigning tasks to my end users. They are reporting on time, and well, it's not magic, right? But iTunes platform is doing the heavy duty of calculating everything, so I can really understand it through a progress view. Okay. All right. So that'll be for waterfall projects. What about agile projects? Let me show you that real quick. Let's move to the projects area. And in here, I'm going to switch to a agile project, like, for example, this one. Okay. What is the difference between a waterfall project and an agile project? According to ITM platform, is how you create and control your plan. In Waterfall, you have a critical path, right, through a Gantt view. In this case, I don't have a Gantt view. What I have is a board that will summarize or that will display the tasks from my project, right? And they are organized into the basic statuses for a board, for a Kanban board. What is not completed, what is currently in progress, and the tasks that are already completed. Okay, so I don't need to worry really about dates. I can enter dates definitely, but this is not a required value for controlling an agile project, right? The status is, in the other hand. So what changes from this perspective, the progress area? Well, it's really different because now I don't have a critical path to analyze. What I have in here, sorry, it's a short description, a short summarization of all my tasks by status. So the entire project has 38% tasks to do, 31% in progress, and 31% completed, right? If I enter effort, right, I can also display this progress in terms of a cumulative flow chart or a burn down, which is more frequent for agile projects, right? So as you can see, this area is quite difficult. Quite different, right? But exactly the same way as a waterfall project, I can click on progress report, right? And then I can enter the same values, right? The short description, detailed description, the percent completed, and report date. Okay. All right. So now that we know how to control and display the status for individual projects, let's jump into reporting. We have different ways of reporting data for our projects. The most basic one is through a table in the projects list. So if I go in here, right, I can see the assessment, the progress, the percent complete for our plans, right, or other data that I'm interested in. I can control the columns on this table by going into this button, sorry, and from here you can include or exclude anything that is important to you, including your custom fields, right? So if you have custom fields created in your environment, you can also display them in the table. So that's the most basic way of doing that. Now, this view is limited to projects. What if I would like to see other components, right? For that, I might need to go to the portfolio, because the portfolio area can display not just projects, can display services, can display programs, right? And as you can see in here, I have some of the basic columns as well. The main difference is that in the portfolio, I cannot control the columns display. This is enforced in the environment, right? But this table mainly is to show you which projects you want to include in a portfolio view, right? And you select them by using the filters at the top. Once you selected them, then you can start using the rest of the buttons. For example, show me a financial analysis, show me the result of financial data plus the percent completed. I can display the schedule. So all that work that we did plan by plan, creating a percent done calculation, I can see it in here, right? Or I can go to the progress tab where I can see a specific value per plan and also an assessment value, okay? All right, there is another way of getting more information about our project. So that'll be through dashboards, okay? Let me show you first that within each project, you have the ability to display a dashboard. So if I open again this project, come on. Looks like I clicked too fast maybe, and now this is a little bit slow. If that doesn't work, let me refresh. Okay, let's do it again. Let's go to a project. All right, all the way to the end, we have a dashboard. This dashboard will display charts or analysis elements for different aspects for your projects. Like, for example, comparing actual cost against the budget, the project costs against actual costs through time, and so on and so forth, the project risks, cost and revenue, actual cost and actual revenue, etc. Right? Now, these dashboards are great, but they have one limitation, one very important limitation. You cannot modify them, right? For example, you cannot enter a filter, or you cannot change the colors, or you cannot add new dimensions or change the series. Okay, so they are kind of fixed. The only thing that you can do for those is, for example, close them or get them back by clicking on select items. I can bring back any chart that I have hidden before. Okay. So again, these dashboards are very good, are real time, are updated real time, but they are limited in what is the data contained, right? How they represent the data. The same occurs inside other control elements like the portfolio. We have a dashboard for the entire portfolio. Okay. And we have one main dashboard all the way to the top that will display different aspects across all ITAM platform, like things like internal client demand, the budget comparison, invoicing by provider, etc. Okay. But again, they have the same situation. Those charts are kind of fixed. You cannot alter how they work. Let me show you two extra ways of getting more data, right? Or getting more reports. The first one is under reporting. This reporting is native reports from ITAM platform where you can actually build a table-based report. Okay. For example, I have a collection of or a list of pre-existing reports. Like, for example, project, let me show you one, project costs, for example, this one, right? Let's see project costs. If I click on the name, it's going to create that report for me. It is in the form of a table, right? And this table can be exported to Excel, similar to any of the rest of the tables in the system, right? Which will bring another ability, right? You can export directly all the information inside ITAM platform by clicking on these buttons to export to Excel. So if I click in there, it will create me an Excel file with exactly the same columns that I'm displaying here in this report. Okay. What if you need a custom one? That is very easily done. I can go into this reporting area, right, and click on Add New Report. Let me show you. It's quite simple. I just need to select what is the main table that I want to use. It's either projects, tasks, purchases, etc. Right? Let's start with projects, which is the most recurrent one. Let's click on Create New Report, and from here I can add any extra columns that I require. For example, I can include things like percent completed, like I don't know, maybe it's the duration, right? The external client, whatever you want. Okay. Let me add an internal client. Let's add one last. For example, let me see if I can find one financial value round. Well, let's use project budgets for this. And I would like to use the top-down total budget, right? So if I drag and drop it, right? Okay, sorry, it looks like it did not do it this time. So let me do it again. Top-down budget, let's move it there. All right, looks like I'm having an issue adding that one. Right. I just need to drop it in this box. Once the report has been built, right, I can control it in an extra way. For example, I can drag the external client to the top to create a group level, right? Or maybe multiple levels. I would like to display first the external client, and then I would like to use the internal client as a second level, right? And then ITAM platform will give me the rest. Okay, if I'm okay with this report, I simply need to click on save, give it a name. New report. Those reports can be set to be private. That'll be only for me, or public for the rest of my users. And I can enter an optional description describing the purpose of this report. Okay, if I click on save, perfect. Now I have a new report. Okay, if I click on the report again, ITAM platform will render it again. So now I can easily export it to Excel after reviewing it, or instead of viewing the report, I can directly click on this button to the end to export it to Excel. Okay. All right. Let me show you now the customizable dashboards. Because, yeah, we know that those dashboards that we showed you before have this limitation, right? You cannot alter how they work. Now we have a new version of dashboards, right? You can use them right away. Let me show you first real quick the existing dashboards. Every time that you have an ITAM platform environment, you are going to see these 5 proposed dashboards, which you can modify if you want. First one is the summary. It will show me things like the number of projects by type, projected revenues by date, purchases by due date, performing units in projects, how many projects we have for each executing unit, budget versus estimate versus real by goals. So I'm summarizing the budget and displaying it according to our business goals, or the relationship between projects and risks. So how many projects we have by, how many risks we have by project. We have another one, this time for more information about purchases, right? By type, purchases by type, by due date, by budget account, or by provider. We have revenue, kind of the same, but opposite. This time is for revenue, right? Revenue by status, by project type, by due date, number of revenues by date. How many times we're gonna receive money from our project's execution, right? We have our risks and issues dashboard as well. Issues by type, number of issues by project type, or issues by status, by manager, risks by type, risk by manager, risk by project type, and risk cost by level. Okay. And we have one last, which is a portfolio health indicator dashboard. This one is a little bit kind of fixed, right? It is based on common practices to analyze if our projects are in green, yellow, or red from different perspectives, from progress, from schedule health, estimated costs, risk ceiling, or the issue impact. Okay. Now, I mentioned that these dashboards are editable. This means that you can modify any existing dashboard or create your own. Let me show you with a quick sample. If I click on Add New Dashboard, I can give it a name, for example, Personal Dashboard, okay? It's going to create a blank canvas, and then I can switch to edit mode to start adding charts. If I click on that tile, I simply need to identify first what is the type of chart that I would like to use, for example, a bar chart. Then what is the table? What is the base table that I would like to use, for example, projects, okay? And then I can enter a category that is going to be used for series, for the axis, like, for example, priority. What if I would like to have the number of projects by priority? Well, I can simply then choose what is the column that I would like to use for creating the calculation. It can be, for example, the ID, right? Since it is going to be unique, and then I just need to count it. If instead of this, I would like to have things like, I don't know, maybe the total budget, right? I can use the sum instead. Okay, so you can really configure how you want to display that chart. then confirm or change the chart title. This one is proposed by ITM Platform. You can update it if you want, okay? And then you can choose whether to include the category title, legends, or value labels. Let me go back to the previous scenario so it's easier for us to see. This is going to be the count, right? And if I click on save, now I have my tile, okay? The other thing that you can do for these personal dashboards or these customizable dashboards is to modify the filters. If I click on edit filter, okay, I can add filters. Maybe I don't want to display just any project. Maybe only, I don't know, projects where the value for assessment does not equal good. So just give me this by projects that have problems across the system, right? Okay, sorry, I might not have that value here. Does not equal critical. Okay, well, maybe I'm not choosing the right values, but you can modify the filters to make the dashboard your own, right? And as you can see, you can create as many dashboards as you need. All right. Okay, let me show you real quick one last thing that we recently released in ITM Platform. And it is the fact that sometimes you need to communicate not just these charts, not just a table or a health indicator value or red, yellow, or green, but you want to communicate the entire Gantt chart for an external user or a user that does not have a license to go inside ITM Platform. What you can do now is go to a project, okay? Let's open one project. Come on. Yeah, looks like my computer does not like to work now. Let me just wait for a second. Okay, here we go. All right, so I have my project. I go to the Gantt area, right? And what if I would like to share this project view with an external user? Maybe it's my customer, maybe it's my executive sponsor, and I want to share the entire plan. Well, that is a possibility inside ITM Platform. What I can do all the way to the right, I have this share button, right? That says create a public snapshot. If I click on that option, right, I can create a snapshot with a current status for my plan, with a copy of all the tasks and the current Gantt. Okay, I'm gonna click on create snapshots. Okay, and now what I can do is copy the link. Perfect. It has been copied to my clipboard. Then I can share it through the email, maybe through a chat or something like that. Let me show you what the other side can do, right? For this, I'm going to use an incognito window, okay? And if I paste that URL that I got from there, it's going to display this, right? It's going to display the name of the project, the update dates, okay? The total progress, okay? Who is sharing this information? And this is not a screenshot. This is a live Gantt chart that you can scroll up, down, left, right, okay? You cannot modify it. It is read-only. However, you can still see exactly what's going on. For example, you can collapse or expand. You can zoom in, zoom out, okay? Navigate through different date ranges, right? You can display the baseline. You can highlight the critical path. And if the plan is very large, right, and you would like to locate, for example, a prototype, right, I can find tasks by searching them from here. Okay, so all that is live. All right, this is controlled by the project manager, right? So it is really important to get note of this date and time, right? Because once the project has been updated, probably I'm going to need a new snapshot or an updated snapshot, okay? So if you would like to update the snapshot, let me go back in here. You can click on update snapshot in here. If you don't want to share it anymore, right? Maybe the project reached the end, right? Or you simply want to delete that possibility, simply click on that delete button and it is going to delete the snapshot and that's it. Okay. All right. So I hope that this clarified a bit how to use iTunes platform. Okay. Let me see if you have questions for today's session. While I read your questions, I'm going to ask you, please, if you can help us get 5 stars in Capterra. All your comments are really appreciated. Okay, it helps us improve our products and services. All right, looks like we don't have questions for today. So with that, I'm gonna end this session. I thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again in our next training session. Thank you very much and have a great day.